When you came in today, I'm sure many of you, at least who are not visitors, and we welcome all of our visitors who are here for President's Weekend and Valentine's Day, whatever else brings you here this weekend. But our regular parishioners, this is the first time they've seen steel up on the first floor of our new building. And we're starting a new series of homily series that is going to go through Lent and through Easter, which is building. What kind of parish are we building? And it's more than just the floor, all the space that we're going to be building here. And we've been talking about that and its need. And one of the temptations of a parish that's in a building project is you get really tied up with the building itself. And you can forget why we're building the building. What's the proper mission of the church? That's merely meant to serve what we're doing. It's not to be the main part of what we're doing. What we're doing as a parish is not building a building. What we're doing as a parish is building a different kind of parish. And why are we building a different kind of parish? Because the old way of being parish wasn't working. People were leaving the church. People were getting older and you didn't see as many younger faces. People were, and I want to ask a question which is a dangerous question to ask. And it's especially dangerous to ask teenagers this question. Why are you here at church today? Because if you invite that question without giving some sort of guidance, somebody says, I don't know if I should be here today. And thanks for bringing up the question. Now I'll leave. But why are we here today? What's our mission? Because knowing what we're about, knowing what kind of mission we have, really decides whether we're here today, if it matters or not. Jesus is being tempted precisely to be distracted from his mission. Jesus he's out in the desert, and the devil tries to tempt him away from his mission of bringing all together in him through his death and resurrection in obedience to the Father. He's being tempted to slightly skew his mission. You want to attract people to your message? You can do it another way. Command these stones be turned into bread. Become a bread king. People will follow you if you give them bread. Don't we have examples of that throughout history? Where people tried, fairly oppressive regimes, but so long as you fed the people. In fact, isn't that how North Korea, they keep the elites fed when everyone else is starving, so they stay in power. So what is the equivalent of trying to gather people for bread in a parish? The equivalent is to become a consumerist church. What do you need? What program do you need? Do you need this program for your kids? You need this program? It doesn't mean you don't do all of those things. But if we turn parishioners into a bunch of consumers, I'm here today because I get this out of this. When all of a sudden, when our says, well, I don't know if I need that anymore, I think I want that, then we're not committed anymore. And we go wherever we feel our felt needs are. Instead of being called to become disciples, to follow the Lord. That's what we're here for, is for that service to the Lord, to build up this church as a community of disciples who want to draw others to Christ as disciples. We're not here for what we receive as much as how we're formed and being sent in that kind of service. How else is Jesus tempted to go away from his mission. He's tempted by becoming a political king. He's tempted, the devil says, all the nations have been given to me, and I'll hand over all that power to you if you but worship me. Isn't it interesting, especially in light of the elections coming up, that the devil says, all power on earth has been given to me. Not some power, not this power and not this power. All power on earth has been given to me. Whenever you're deciding who to vote for, think of that. Okay? But we can decide we want to be a political church. We want to have this political agenda. We send this thing. We're disciples. And yes, we bring all of who we are. We bring all of how we've been formed, and that includes our politics. And we're asking all of that to be formed by the gospel. That we are disciples first before we are anything else. And that's why we come to this community. That's why we serve in this community, so that we're all being formed by the gospel. How else is Jesus is he being distracted from his main mission? He's trying to be tempted from his main mission. Become a wonder worker. Throw yourself down from the temple, and then everyone will come and believe in you. This was a difficult temptation because Jesus, in fact, was a wonder worker, wasn't he? And it was saying, do something you're already going to do, and people will flock to you. But what happened when Jesus performed those miracles and people tried to make him king? He ran away, right? He wanted people to see that these were merely signs of the coming of the Messiah into the world. This was a sign that God was remaking the world, that the poor had the good news preached to them, the blind see, the deaf hear, the dumb speak. It was merely a sign and not the purpose of his mission. His purpose of his mission is to get our hearts open to hearing how he's calling us. What kind of parish do we want to be? I can tell you one of my experiences of why I know we have to be a different kind of parish is because as a priest, sometimes I really do knock myself out as a pastor and as a priest, and some days if I have this temptation to kind of measure my success by how you're responding, and I found that the Lord kind of struck that out under my feet, because there's been a couple of times when I know I've been working real hard and getting a lot of really good feedback from you all, and then all of a sudden I'll go to my office, and it'll be a really good day, lots of good things happening, and I'll go to my office and I'll find an anonymous letter sent underneath my door. And I've made the mistake, which I will not make again, of reading some of those letters. I simply will not read an anonymous letter anymore. So don't send them. If you give them, they're going in the trash can. But they're really nasty letters. They're really nasty about how somehow they weren't being served in this particular way. And the thing is my heart goes out for me, because this person really doesn't understand why we're gathered here on a Sunday, what we're about. It doesn't mean that if we can't have disputes with one another, but we come together as a community, as disciples on the way together to the kingdom. And all of us are called to serve. So that was one of the reasons why we've started this with all your heart movement. Because it's not just about getting people to pray or getting people to serve or getting people to share of their goods with the church or to witness. It's a different culture. It's getting us to see in a different way who we are. And we're entering into this second season. We did the Heart to Pray, and we asked you all to make a commitment to pray in a different way. I don't think you really understood it because only about 111 of you out of the 3,900 that come to Mass signed up I'm going to do one extra thing to grow in my discipleship. So I'm challenging more of you to do this when we get to the Heart to Service. We're going to be looking at, in the next few weeks, how this parish is being called to build a different kind of parish by each of us being called to serve the parish in some way. Now, many of you are involved. We have over 1,200 people who are involved in various different ministries. But that's still not everyone. Everyone's called to serve. Everyone's called, and we'll eventually get to the season to share and to witness and all of that. But during this next 3 weeks, this is going to be one of our focuses, how we build a different kind of parish. Because if we build a different kind of parish, then when we come to Mass, we experience the Mass in a different way. We're here as disciples trying to bring all of the things that are going on in our life and offering them as a work of praise to God, and also trying to understand how the gospel touches our lives. We're doing this together. We're not yet saints. We're on the way. Now, God will make us saints if we as a community are faithful to being on the way together. Part of our service, too, is calling those who have not been baptized, who have evidenced an interest in coming into the church, to part of our service for you is after you've said to us, yes, I want to be baptized, we say, we elect you. Now, that election is ratified by the bishop and will happen next week when we send you to the cathedral to be elected by him for sacraments. But today we have the rite of sending. And so that's part of our mission for you, is to send you, not away, but to send you out to confirm that you are being called not just by God, but also by this community for Easter sacraments. To join us on the way together of finding out what it means to be a disciple in love with Christ, to build a different kind of church by our response to the Lord.